The race for the next Senate President of Nigeria begins in earnest, even though the inauguration of distinguished members of the 10th National Assembly is yet to take place. With a multi-party representation in the Senate after the 2023 election, there will be a lot of horse trading in the process leading to the choice of the Senate President. Presently, the top contenders for the hot seat are the current Senate President, Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan from Yobe State, Aline Dume, Borno South, Godswill Akpabio, Akwa Ibom North, Orji Uzor Kalu, Abia North, Jibrin Barao, Kano North, and Mohammed Sani, Musa, Niger East. However, from the foregoing, it is only the Northwest and the South-South that is yet to have their senators elected as Senate President since the return to democratic rule in 1999. Joining us now on this show from our Abuja studio is Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. Good morning, Senator Musa, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning. Well, Senator, you have indicated your interest in the leadership of the Senate, the 10th National Assembly. Although your party is here to zone, the position to any part of the country. Well, could you tell us about your interest in this position? Because when I heard Senator Musa, the thing that I remembered was your social media bill. I hope Senator Musa is not going to become Senate President and say he wants to gag social media as he attempted in 2019. But what's your mission?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. Let me talk of the latter. That is the social media bill you just make the reference to. In an environment like Nigeria, and with what we have been seeing, I still don't run away from the fact that we still need to regulate our social media space. And how do we regulate it? It's not by gagging. I've never proposed a bill to gag freedom of speech, never. What I did is for us to be able to regulate it so that you and I will be able to accept and agree to what we can see. We can also argue on certain things that are not good for the society, and those are the things you see in other climes. You can't tell me you are not free in the United Kingdom or in Canada to use your social media, but there are some red lines that you cannot cross. And that is exactly what I'm sure if you read the bill, you will get to understand what that means. But let me come to the point of why I'm here and based on your invitation. The 10th National Assembly, for now, I think almost about 98 senators have been declared winners in their various senatorial districts. And I think INEC have also proposed a date for rerun in those areas that have not been, that were declared inconclusive. Be it as it may, yes, the tussle over who leads the 10th Assembly has begun. And I believe that all the names you have mentioned, every one of them is most qualified, competent to occupy those offices. But the honors of who leads rest on those elected senators. And by virtue of the rules we have in the Senate, the standing order of the Senate 2015 as amended have specified the mode and method at which leadership of the Senate and both the presiding and the principal officers and other offices of the other ranking offices of the Senate will be appointed or elected. So we must be guided by that as well. In reference to my own aspiration, my aspiration is on the basis of my representation from my constituency. If you look at the results so far, you will see that every zone of this country have done very well in terms of returning the governing party who will be, who by right will present the presiding officers, or by convention, I would say. But yet, if you look at it as well, there are certain zones that have been able to prove that they are real party loyalists and they have voted for the party, which is going to be the governing party. And the race, if you look at all those that have shown interest, belongs to the APC, which is my party. And as such, if there will be someone aspiring to lead from either northeast or south-south or southwest of this country, where even the president-elect is coming from, I don't see any reason why someone from the north-central would not also aspire to lead the 10th Assembly. Basically, we're talking about competency and experiences. I think the 109 senators that will be elected to the Red Chamber are all competent, are professionals in their own right, and they come from diverse professions. Some are accomplished military personnel that have retired. Some are seasoned technocrats that have reached the peak of their careers and retired and seek for election and were elected. Some are fulfilled businessmen that have also made remarkable achievements, achieved so much in their endeavors. So I don't see any issue in terms of saying if one is qualified or not qualified. But when you come to National Assembly, there is what we call the some parliamentary standards. Legislative duties are completely kind of different from civil service job, because legislative duty is a duty whereby everybody is coming to represent his people and bring to table the aspiration and the needs of its own domain. So in that case, you can see there will be kind of the robust debates either on the floor or at committee levels. And it takes a leader with that perseverance and wisdom to be able to accommodate 109 senators of different diversities. Right. So, and I see myself as one person that can be a bridge builder. Okay. And if you look at the 9th Assembly, today we had a 9th Assembly that was a kind of rancorous-free within the chamber. Why is it like that? It's because of the kind of wisdom that was applied by the leadership. And also the followers that were there were able to conduct themselves in the best standards that the Nigerian, international community will look at Nigerian standard in terms of proceedings within the National Assembly, that is within the Red Chamber, specifically.
Senator Musa.
So, Dr. Roberts, yeah.
All right, thank you. I'd just like to ask you a question. Now, your ambition is, there are a number of factors to consider. Number one is you're predicating your ambition based on the fact that you're hopeful that this the Senate president would be zoned by your party. If zoned, it will be zoned to the North Central. Also, bearing in mind, that's another part, bearing in mind that the current APC chair is from your zone. And so if you do emerge as Senate president, then there'd be that, that challenge with both of you being from the same zone. Also, what will then happen to your friendship and relationship with the current Senate president, who is said to also be in the race or in the running, or perhaps has shown interest to coming back as Senate president?
Thank you very much. The issue of my aspiration has nothing to do with my personal relationship with anybody in the Senate. It's I'm here to represent my constituency. By virtue of my aspiration, I'm here also. By virtue of my aspiration is also to represent all those that comes from the North Central by virtue of what we have, like the 6 geopolitical zones. So my relationship with the Senate president is a very respectful one. I respect him and I will continue to respect him. He has led a National Assembly that did very well. But notwithstanding that, if you're talking about zoning, why not? If it's zoned to my zone, the Senate president should be able to support me because I've also supported him all through. So also, it is a choice of other senators to say, okay, this is who we want, and we're going to elect him as our leader. If you're talking about national chairman coming from APC, it is the zoning arrangement that been adopted by the party is not in the status of any of our constitution, either the party constitution or the party constitution or the country's constitution. It is an arrangement. It is more or less a gentleman agreement. We have seen it. It happens in 1999, where the national chairman comes from the North Central, and we have a presiding officer also coming from the North Central. Vis-a-vis, we have seen it where Saraki was the national, was the Senate president, and we also have a situation where you see Ahmadu Ali was chairing, and then we have David Mark as Senate president. So there's a precedent to that. Be it as it is, North Central is duly qualified to also present a candidate for the position of Senate presidency, if it is zoned, as you said. But if it is left open, it depends on the number of senators that I will be able to convince to accept my norms and the kind of standard I want to bring to the National Assembly, especially to the Senate. We need a bridge builder. We need somebody that is so diversified in every field. I mean, somebody that is well exposed to the standards. Yes, we can talk about democracy in other climes. When you are talking about democracy in countries like the United States of America, where we are copying from, then when a presiding officer or a principal officer is returning to the office, he's been sponsored, which he contested and get elected. Once he's back to the floor, there will be no tussle. But we are an emerging democracy, and as such, we are trying to see how we can get a balance in order to get that every zone of this country is fully represented in the affairs, in the leadership affairs of this country. So I see myself as one factor that will also re-engineer the beginning of a new Nigeria.
Okay, so a couple of things. You want to be the next Senate president, and I'd just like to know, you've championed over 30 bills, yourself. I'd like to know, what are the convictions that heralds the kind of bill you champion? And can you, as a quick summary, let us know, just hang on a minute, Senator, let us know your voting record on key national issues. How did you vote? For instance, how did you vote on the digitization of the election process and the electoral bill? What are your voting records on key national issues? It's also really very important. And what made you vote the way you vote? Probably, is it your convictions or your party affiliations or interests? Then I'll ask you lastly, what's your background like? Let's know a little bit about you. Let's dig deep into you, sir.
Rufai, thank you very much. And this is the first opportunity I will have to encounter with you. So first and foremost, the bills I have presented before the before the Senate. If you look at it, if you are a student of history as well, and you make references to the goings in National Assembly, especially the Senate, you will be able to see what kind of bills I have presented. The bills I have presented are bills that have to touch with the common man in this country. I have also proposed a bill that have raised so many issues. One, like the one Dr. Abati stood to talk about, the social media bill, which was framed as anti-social media bill. It's not an anti-social media bill. In every advanced society, you set standard of how certain things have to operate. We have seen it. We're evolving in our democracy, in our development we're evolving. We have not reached that climb. So it is always right to see that certain things are put in the right perspective in terms of regulation. Nobody is saying that anyone should be gagged. I have always been on social media for almost how many hours in a day? I cannot even count. It has been part of me, and everyone that knows my passion, I'm somebody that is technology driven personality, and I take pride in doing that. When you look at my bills, I have touched bills that has to do with even the infrastructure standard of this country. This is a country that have been, there was a time that we had an oil boom in this country, and we are so proud to say that we have all the money we'll be able to run this country. But alas, we were not able to meet the kind of infrastructural facilities that we should see. We don't have good roads, we don't have the kind of electricity, power, and the rest of it. Even the housing, we have deficit in the housing scheme. So my bills, if actually Rufai does his research very well, you will be able to see, and I will use this opportunity to tell Nigerians. If you look at the social worker today, or you look at those unskilled workers in this country, they have not been regulated. You will see that somebody that has an opportunity to get a construction site, he will go get hired these laborers to come to work. And at the end of the day, these laborers are overworked for more than the standard hours that they're supposed to work. And then at the end of the day, they are being paid peanuts. And I felt it's wrong in a country like this, whereby the unskilled level, those unskilled employees you see, constitute majority of the productive sector, I mean the productive level in this country. So I proposed a bill in that area whereby I called for the regulation of employees in the unskilled sector. Also, I have also presented a bill to do with tertiary institutions health sector, like the teaching hospitals. Today, those days, when you look at University of Ibadan, you look at University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital, you look at the Enugu, that's University of Nigerian Teaching Hospital. These are classes of health institutions that had been reckoned. They have been known all over the world. But today, you will see that lack of funding have crippled them. We have a TED fund. TED fund is not giving any support in terms of resources for these institutions to even conduct researches and then put those kind of equipment that we need to be able to advance our health sector. So I presented a bill, and that bill was passed and has been presented before Mr. President for assent. So if you look at also...
Okay, real quickly, Senator, because of time. So, I mean, you've answered about your bill. I want you to answer, how have you voted in very specific issues of national importance? You know, how have you voted in the Senate? That's one. Then two, tell us a little bit about your background. Let's just, know your antecedents. Quickly, sir. Okay, you asked 3 questions. I've answered one. So I'm going to the second one. How did I voted during the Electoral Act debate? I think I'm one person that have also contributed so much to some of the clauses you can see in the Electoral Act during our debating sessions. And I will tell you that without any fear of contradiction, I voted in where my party representatives voted. Because I came to the National Assembly with the interest of my people. And my people asked me to vote where I voted. And where did I vote? I voted that, yes, there should be transmission of results, but we should also look at how the spread is. Is Nigeria covered? Is Nigeria covered? Let's even talk about 90%. Is there a coverage of 90%? Because I have a constituency that is close to the Federal Capital Territory. Is close, is also at the middle or center of this country. But yet, I have so many wards in my constituencies that are not connected to any of the telecoms. So in that case, since I'm representing them, I have a voice to present before any debate in the National Assembly. And the reason why we did that was to make sure that we did the right thing and give the kind of climate that will be able to give us the best out of what we have done. And if you look at the Electoral Act today, I can tell you it's better. The elections that we are having in this country today is much far better than what we used to be, what we used to see, where people will carry ballot papers and stuff them in. But today, go and stuff ballot paper in your ballot box. The moment it does not go with what
the beavers will give you in terms of accreditation and verification, it's going to result in you having zero at that polling unit. And I can tell you that without any fear or mixed contradiction to what I'm going to say, Electoral Act, as amended 2022, have done very well for this country in our electoral processes. Today, you can see that every Nigerian goes to the poll. And those that go into the pool, if they present themselves for accreditation and verification, if they have been accredited and verified, yes, then the sanctity of that vote can be counted. Well, so I've done well. And when you're talking about who I am, if you are talking about who I am, yes, I am a student of history as well, because I try to guide myself about precedents. I guide myself about those things that will take me to where I want to be. I am a graduate of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I graduated between 1989-90. I served in Port Harcourt from 1990 to 1991. And after then, I ventured into business. I was in El Petroleum Nigeria Limited. I was at the procurement department where I served, and I also had a stint there. I stayed there as a contract staff, but decided on my own to leave. And I left that place and started working as a businessman on my own, building my own kind of empire, which I have done now. And I can tell you, I am a proud employee of over 168 working under me and paying them salary every month. That does not stop me from going to aspire for a position, of which I resigned my appointment in the company I have set. I resigned my appointment and venture into politics. And I can tell you, from all, if you are talking about background, just as somebody will say he's a seasoned and retired civil servant, I will tell you I'm a seasoned businessman who has ventured into politics, who is also very acquainted with technology, because today's world, the 21st century, is moved by technology, and I'm very passionate about it.
Well, Senator Musa, I listened to you saying it doesn't matter if you are from the same place with the APC chairman. But the big elephant in the room is religion. Many have said that if you were to emerge as a Senate president, it will mean that the president is Muslim, the vice president will be Muslim, the Senate president will be Muslim. And Christians are saying, that's too much in a multi-religious country. Or you don't think that that's an issue?
For the exigencies of our time, looking at the volatile situation of this of what has generated the Muslim ticket in this country, I am one person that believes in the secularity of Nigeria. I'm one person that believes that for every reason there should be give and take in this country. We have lived with both Christians, Muslims. Some of us have relatives that are still Christians and they are still Muslims. We have lived in a society where there's intermarriage. We have lived for so long. Our forefathers have envisaged a country where we will all live together. I will not have any problem. I will not have any problem to see a qualified, competent personality like me in the Senate who has also presented himself for the office of the Senate presidency and asking me to please drop my ambition for him. I will do it. There is the position of Deputy Senate President, which of course is also a presiding office in the National Assembly. I will be willing to do it if it is going to be best for the best interest of Nigerians. It is going to be for the best interest of the zone I'm going to represent. It is going to be for the best interest of my state and my senatorial districts. There is no commitment and there's no sacrifice that is too much to do in order to give the unity this country deserves. And that is me, and that is my ambition.
All right, thank you very much, Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, for your time this morning. We wish you all the best.